What is up? Welcome in to Lambeau Speak. This is episode 22, talking about our Week 9 big Packers victory against the Rams. This is a Toilet Styles Podcast Network production. Thanks for tuning in. I am Nate Wallen. You can find me on Twitter at Nate_Dirt19. I'm joined by Mr. Bobby Winter. You can find him on Twitter at Bobby A. Winter. He is feeling a little under the weather today, so his voice is comes and goes. But hey, we appreciate him being there. Toughing it out.
Yeah, I finally got the medicine I needed, so hopefully I can get through a whole episode.
Heck yeah. So it was fun. There was a lot of kind of slow going game. We scored in the first half. That was wild to me. It's been since week 1 that we scored a touchdown in the first half. I was talking about before the show that, there were still some things that were left to desire, but, a win's a win. I don't really care who you're playing, who the quarterback is. It's very hard to win in the NFL, regardless of who's under center, like we saw in the Vikings-Falcons game where Josh Dobbs got signed Tuesday and came in and they won the game.
Yeah.
So before we get going, I do want to say a couple things. You can find the show on Twitter at Toilets to Titles. You can find all our content, everything we do over at toiletstyles.com, all our articles, mock drafts, player rankings. If you're into fantasy football, Coach has a Dudes and Duds that drops every Wednesday. Rich and Jason have their fantasy football rankings that drop Thursdays. There's also IDP articles that get dropped weekly, so check that out. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe button and the little bell so you know when we go live on all of our shows. And if you're listening to this on Apple, please give us a 5-star review. We would appreciate that. And if you would like to interact with the team, whether it's myself, Bobby, anybody else on the network, and the rest of the 240 or 50 people that are in the group, hit us up, get in our Gilded chat. It's completely free. There's tons of advice. We talk about, in the off season, we'll do mock drafts. Just anything football related is there. So hit us up. You're more than welcome to join. It's a good time. So, and last but not least, this month we are giving away a Yeti cooler. At the end of the month, you'll have to go back and watch the flagship show from Tuesday night. There is a phrase, basically, they're going to get you, and you have to email it in. But you join the Gilded chat, subscribe on YouTube. All the information is on our Twitter, how to win that cooler. So it doesn't cost you anything to get involved. So like I said, check it out. And if you got any questions, hit us up. So that being said, let's get into it. The Packers win 20-3 over the LA Rams. The Brett Rippon-led LA Rams. It was a pretty miserable game, really. Like it seemed there was a lot of just kind of slow going, some turnovers. The Rams never made it to the red zone. That was good. The Packers were not good in the red zone. 1 of 4. Not which we like to see. Better on third down this week than we have been, 50%, which still sucks, but better than it has been. So, I thought that Love showed some good stuff. There were some play calls that were made that you looked for like, why don't we do that more often? Thrown in the middle of the field. The middle of the field seems to be open quite a bit. Like those plays to Luke Musgrave, which was a pretty cool play design. But it seems like the middle of the field is open quite a bit. I know Rodgers never liked to throw over the middle after the whole Jermichael Finley incident, which was not good. But the NFL kind of has gotten away from guys getting just decapitated over the middle of the field. So I think that's somewhere, it's easier. Most quarterbacks, it's a lot easier for them to throw the ball in between the numbers, especially to a big guy like Luke Musgrave. That's kind of what I've taken. I still think we need to be under center more, and I can say that every day, but it won't matter. But, what did you think about the offense?
Yeah, actually, speaking of throwing over the middle of the field, that last play that they ran right before the end of the half, remember where Romeo Dobbs caught it, and then they added 4 seconds into it. They had time for one more play before they can kick the field goal, which they, missed. But it was just like a nice little like inside slant route right over the middle. And I was like, it was so quick. You know what I mean? Like plays like that are like really what this offense should be focusing on, getting the ball out of Love's hands faster, right? So you don't have to worry about the offensive line blocking well or not. You know what I mean? Thrown over the middle field, like you said, it appears like it's open, and it's just quick game. I feel like it would help get the offense into a rhythm better. I know that really the big thing that's been keeping the offense out of a rhythm has just been the penalties, which has persisted through this week. One thing it's coaching. Another thing is it's just boneheaded mistakes. You know what I mean? Like, and you're gonna have to explain this to me like I'm 5. What is going on with this offensive offsides thing? I'm looking at what the Eagles do, and they're doing the exact same thing.
So I'm not sure how that's. I mean, the one play, they were both on 4th down, so it doesn't matter which one I talk about. The Rams are in the neutral zone on one of the cameras. You know what I mean? So I know it's a point of emphasis. I think the NFL is trying to get away from some of that. You know, they want the whole. I hate that play, by the way, that the Eagles run. I hate that. Like, this isn't right.
I don't hate it because other teams aren't as good at it as they are.
I know, but
if it was proven to be like an unstoppable play, then yeah, I would hate it. But the Eagles are really good at it. Every other team isn't.
Yeah. But anyways, I think they're trying to like deter people from doing that. I'm not sure what it was, you know, because the first one they called on Yosh Nijman, and I don't think it was even on him. I think they said the wrong number, and I think it was on, you know, John Runyon or whatever.
Yep.
And I think they both were, but he doesn't look off sides to me. And I kept looking all over the place to try to figure out what, you know, like you said, to be explained, because he doesn't appear to be off sides. And both those penalties, it was like, we're just, you know, that just kills all the momentum, any rhythm we had.
Right. The game was closer than it actually should have been. I mean, we dominated the Rams.
Yeah,
we really did.
Yeah.
You know, and it was mistakes like that. And then the only thing, just one last thing on that is when they were talking about it in the broadcast, because every time they kept mentioning it in the broadcast, they're like, oh yeah, he's clearly offsides. I'm like, clearly? But I guess what it is like your helmet, like only in the center when he's lined up with the ball, right?
Yep.
So any players behind or next to him must be behind him by 1 helmet length. So like the front of Runyon's helmet can't exceed the back of the center's helmet.
Yeah. Well, but it's funny because when you look at the picture, Elton Jenkins is the same place.
I know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Plus, I mean, we were on Twitter after the game. There's a ton of comparisons to what they were doing as to what the Eagles do week in and week out, and they never once get called for it. We got called for it twice in one game.
Yeah, it was frustrating. You know, and I know the conditions weren't great. The Dontavian Wicks fumble, he was trying to. I have no problem. It sucks.
Me neither. He was trying to make the play.
It sucks that it was after that big return from Nixon, which was great. Yeah. But trying to make a play, you know, Aaron Jones was.
Dude, it was raining out too. Like the ball was slick. Like it shit happens.
You know, luckily that our defense was playing well enough, as it should have been. You know, to not really, it didn't matter.
Right.
You know, one thing that is frustrating for me offensively, and I will say, the sacks we took, one of them that I remember for sure was, you know, Love just held on the ball way too long. And that might have been one of the ones towards the end. But there was, I mean, it's Aaron Donald. He's awesome. One of the best players in the NFL still. You know, needs at least 2 guys on him to maybe try and stop him. You know, their defensive line is going to be good when Aaron Donald's there, as long as he can have a guy that kind of helps him out. I mean, I feel like I could maybe get a couple sacks in an NFL season if he was next to me. Probably not, but you know what I mean. So I thought that they played okay. You know, some dumb penalties. I think they get too cute sometimes on like that 3rd and inches where AJ Dillon's trying to run around the outside. Like, just run straight.
Totally.
Like, don't be dumb and try to go this way. Just go downhill and put your head down.
Yeah.
Because he averaged, I just looked, 4 a carry or something. He had a good game today.
He really did.
You know, Aaron Jones had 18 carries and they averaged like 3.5 or 3.8, something like that, which whatever, he still played well. Minus the fumble, you know, but you know, and the one thing, I guess my big still, and you and I were texting about during the game, is the like underutilization of Christian Watson. I don't know. I mean, Romeo Doubs is clearly the wide receiver 1 for this team. I don't know if just because Love trusts him more or what it is, but Watson had 2 targets.
Yeah.
I know Love only had 26 attempts. Was he 20 or 26 or 22 or 20 or 26?
Yeah.
So he had a good day throwing the ball. I mean, didn't take a lot of deep shots, but we're not good at taking deep shots. So it's okay to not take a lot of deep shots. Keep it within 10 yards. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I just wish they would get him a little more involved.
I agree. And one of the things I was thinking about, actually, because when me and you were texting about that during the game, obviously Watson has a unique skill set. He's very tall and he's very fast, and he can run in a straight line very well. But I mean, you saw them do it last year with some of those crossing routes that he would just eat up defenders in. Yeah. Not every pass to him has to be this straight line down the field. They could have him run slants. I mean, he's still big and fast. You know what I mean? They could incorporate him into some of these different things, kind of like how they're using Romeo Doubs. And I mean, Romeo's very fast too, but I don't know. I feel like Christian Watson, if given the opportunity to do some other things in this offense, could probably excel.
Well, there's, those drag routes he'd run last year, like those are like a shallow cross, whatever. Those are great. And then he scored his first touchdown last year on a jet sweep. Where's that been? Is it it's just Jaden Reed that gets to do that now?
So weird.
So it's weird to me that that's the case. I think I think Dobbs and Reed and Watson are good quality wide receivers. I do. I think the contested catch thing is still an issue a little bit, but I think that comes with time, because you see a lot of these experienced guys, whether, like watching right now, whether it's Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, when a ball is underthrown to them, they're probably going to get pass interference. I don't know if that comes with time or what, but and that maybe too is, the deep ball to Watson that was underthrown. Is Love scared to let it rip? He has an arm to throw the ball. It's not even that long of a pass. I know it was raining, but it seems like it's not the only time. So,
no, you're right. I feel like his deep ball has just gotten worse throughout the year. It could be a confidence thing. I think maybe, because like you said, in the beginning of the year, they were not afraid to rip it down the field. They were taking 3 or 4, sometimes 5 deep shots a game. And this game they did 2. I think it might be a confidence thing with him. But the only other thing I wanted to say about the offense before we move on to the defense was, would you look at that? You make Aaron Jones a big part of your offense and you score more points than you had in multiple games combined.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
So crazy, right?
Everybody's been saying it.
Yep. Yeah, and like you said, he only averaged 3.6 a carry or whatever, but I mean, he picked up multiple first downs. He was productive catching the ball. He had a touchdown. It's just having him. It's a different to the offense has to play you differently,
Yeah. No, I think it was, it's nice to have him back. At full strength, whether it's if he just finally is now or what, but. So moving on to the defensive side of the ball, a couple, Jair played. I thought Jair played well, had a couple pass deflections. Would have been nice to have a couple interceptions there, but Anthony Johnson Jr. gets his first interception, so that's cool. Jonathan Owens played well, I thought. Carl Brooks. Hopefully Kenny Clark's injury is not a serious one, but I thought the defense as a whole played well. Again, granted, it was Brett Rippon. Their offensive line's not that good. But still, it doesn't matter. They still have Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua has shown that he's a very good receiver too. And those guys had 5 catches for 30 or 40 some yards combined. I can't remember what it was now. So, I thought they were able to shut him down. I thought the secondary played well as a whole without Rasul, which I'm still not happy about. I thought that was a stupid move by Gutekunst. I don't, it's not like he was costing him a bunch of money. He's a locker room guy, a leader. I think it said it was so shitty. They didn't even sit him down. Gutekunst called him and told him, and Rasul hung up on him because he thought he was joking. Right. And then Mark Murphy called him and thanked him for his service. And then he went and met with Aaron Jones and they cried for a while. And Keyshawn Nixon was all tore up about it. it was. I don't know.
Yeah, it was disappointing. I obviously I wanted to touch on that too. I had forgotten about it, but at the beginning of the show. But yeah, I mean, how many times have I come on this year so far and said Rasul's been the best player on our defense this year? You know, I feel like he's been playing some of his best ball this year, and like you said, like he's turned into like a leader on that or was a leader on that defense. And when Gutekunst said why he traded him, he was like, I got an offer that just seemed too good to turn down. I'm like, all right, so I'm looking at least a second round pick, right? Like if it's, we have to also remember what we paid to get him. I mean, we signed him off of a practice squad.
Yeah.
We kind of hit the lotto with that shit.
Yeah. I agree, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you got a third. Who gives a shit?
Oh, yeah. And we didn't even just get a third. We had to give up a fifth in return.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? I'd much rather have Rasul than a third round pick.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. Especially with, I mean, it wasn't that long ago where the Packers secondary was the void on this team. Yeah. And it's like now that you actually have like a good secondary, you're really just going to like trade one of them away for a ham and cheese sandwich.
And we don't know. We still don't know what we have with Eric Stokes. I mean,
right. Stokes still isn't playing.
There was times his rookie year where I thought he looked really good. There was things he did really, really well. Like just tracking the ball. That's not something you can like learn that well. You can, but a guy that can track the ball well, I remember like Kevin King, like he turned his head around as fast as like a goddamn freight line, like a freight train. Like he couldn't track the ball. Mm-hmm. Stokes can, and he never looked like he was out of place. I thought really, sometimes like a rookie, he'll be someone gonna be like, what are you doing? And I'm not saying like I would be in place, but what I'm saying? Like they look like they're just lost. I never thought that. He's fast as shit.
Super fast.
So I'd love to see what we got with him, but he's hurt. So I just thought it was weird to trade Rasul to leave Jair, and then I think that puts Keith Nixon out there too much. I thought he got hurt in that one play, and I was very concerned. Because he's a spark plug for our offense with our, with special teams or however you want to say it. It gets the offense going. So he needs to be on the field. Not so much. I don't like as much as he's playing on defense. I really don't. I think I've talked. Was that 2 or 3 weeks ago we talked about that?
Yeah.
That I feel like he loses his. I just forgot the word I'm looking for. Loses his like effectiveness if he's playing 40% of the snaps on defense.
I agree. But the last thing I'll say about the trade is it kind of shows what Gutekunst thinks the direction of the team is for the rest of the year, though.
Yeah.
It's clearly tank.
Mm-hmm.
Because why would you trade arguably? I think he actually is. I think he was the highest rated Packer player on PFF.
Yeah.
He was the best player on the team, and they traded him for a third round pick.
I think he was like a top 5 cornerback on PFF in the league.
Yeah. I mean, we were coming into the year saying that him and Jair were probably one of the best duos, if not the best duo in the league.
Yeah.
So,
I've always thought Gutekunst was a dipshit, so whatever.
Yeah. I mean, how old is Rasul? 28?
29?
29?
28 or 29? I don't know.
Yeah. So
right. I think or maybe turned 29 this year. I don't remember now.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, but it's a business, but I don't get that part.
Yeah. I mean, if they had treated
the guy, stop calling him on the phone. Have him come in and talk to him, you asshole.
Yeah, I think it was tough though, because I think he got the call at the trade deadline. But I'm not trying to justify why they traded one of our best players.
I'm just saying, like, talk to the guy. Like, bring him into the office to tell him. Don't just call him and be like, hey, see ya. Get your shit. Get out.
Yeah. All right, but back to the defense. So I think my favorite player was Carl Brooks today. I think he had one of his best games as a pro. He was disruptive. It seemed like he was making plays every quarter. He was just a menace out there. Multiple tackles for loss.
Couple pass deflections.
Yeah,
You like that from the
he
D
was
tackle?
spectacular today. Jair seemed to be returning back to form, as you had mentioned. I think a lot of that might have just been the back injury, because they even talked about it in the broadcast last week that he wasn't tackling the same way that he normally had. It just seemed like he wasn't really playing at 100%. But he looked 100% today, which is pretty exciting. So that was awesome.
I guess I didn't realize Quay Walker was hurt. I must have missed that at the end of the week, but Isaiah McDuffie played really, really well. I thought too.
That one play McDuffie had shooting the gap, that was awesome. Carrington Valentine played pretty well for seeing some like increased playing time. Now again, it was against a
but still
quarterback making his fourth start or whatever. But that's the other thing too, is I still want to give the defense their flowers because they held a team to 3 points. Yes, it was with a quarterback that had never started a game for that team before, but that's what you're supposed to do to these teams. And they did. There was Packers teams in the past that would let rookie quarterbacks go up and down the field and score 20 plus points, and this Packers defense isn't doing that. They're, believe it or not, the strength of the team right now, which is crazy.
Well, I mean, it's like true. You look at the Falcons game, they were playing Jaron Hall and then Josh Dobbs, and they got beat 31-28 by the Vikings. That's pretty poor.
Right.
The Raiders just kicked the shit out of the Giants.
Oh yeah.
With Clayton Tune and a new coach.
Actually, is this an actual stat? I heard that any team, when their coach gets fired, the next game they have a 100% success rate to win the game.
It's probably pretty close, because
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if when they were saying that on the broadcast, if that was like just it's like 100%, or if it actually is 100%.
It probably is,
right?
Those guys hated Josh McDaniels. Most people do, I guess, but
yeah,
those guys hated him.
Did you see that clip of Devontae playing basketball in the? Yeah. It was pretty funny.
Anyways, back to where we were going. This is what the defense is supposed to do. They looked good. They were disruptive. They were able to stop the run. Seemed like they didn't. I don't care if it's Brett Rippon or Stetson Bennett, who I know he's on the practice squad right now or whatever. But you still have Cooper Kupp, who not this year so much because the injury, but previous years past as a perennial All-Pro. One of the best receivers that we've seen in our lifetime, probably. Really, and and like I said, Puka Nacua has been outstanding this year. He's like third in the league in catches as a rookie. Those guys can still get theirs. Obviously Brett Rippon can still make throws, so it's not like they still have to shut him down a little bit. So, I thought they played well as a unit. The special teams played well. Durs missed one kick. It was rainy and shitty, whatever. He made the other two. So, what was one, 51 yards or something like that? I think the one long one.
Yep.
So we like to see that. But I thought I guess you could say they got better at complimentary football today, but it seems like we've really struggled at that. So, like I said, I felt better after today's game, but it's still the first half felt like it was still pretty tough to get going. I thought, for the offense, they had some good drives, but the penalties would kill them. It just seemed like sometimes they were kind of not clicking, like they couldn't get that rhythm going. And they would, but I mean, we got growing left to do, and we know that we're not. Yeah, it's not like it's the be all end all or whatever. But
I feel like the first half would have went a lot different if it weren't for the fourth quarter, or excuse me, the penalties on fourth down.
Oh yeah.
It was like they would convert the fourth down, then all of a sudden it get called back because of penalty, and it was like that changed the whole drive, obviously. So they really need to get the penalties thing cleared up. But once they do, I mean, who knows what this offense could look like?
Yeah. And Jaden Reed, false start. Come on, dude. Like, just watch the ball.
It was just a bonehead mistake.
But it was a win. Win's a win. Snaps the losing streak. That's what we want to see. So on to week 10, going to Pittsburgh. I just looked at their record. I don't remember what it is. I think they're like 5-3, maybe.
Yeah, because they just beat the Titans.
Their offense is not good. Their defense usually plays pretty well. Sometimes part of me thinks it's a game we can win. It just depends on what offense shows up. I think our defense will be able to hold them, and do pretty well against them. It's in Pittsburgh, so we'll see how that goes for us. But I think it'll be a good game. I hope.
Yeah, I hope it will be a good game. Like maybe this is a game that the Packers could build upon. It makes me a little nervous though, going up against such a experienced coach.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Generally, that's our obvious loser for us going up against a real coach. Like we are out coached, and I think the toughness thing will be hard on us here. They're a lot tougher than we are
defensively, for sure.
Yeah.
Like you said, the one way that we could potentially stay in this game is by taking advantage of their offense and maybe getting a couple of turnovers that way.
Yeah.
Although, what's their quarterback? Is Mitch going to be playing, or is Pickett? Pickett's healthy, right? All right, so Pickett comes alive in the fourth quarter. Have you seen this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interceptions sometimes though, so
sure.
Got that going for us. And Najee Harris is sometimes really good. We'll just see what happens. Why did somebody got hurt last week? That was a big one, and I don't remember who it was now for the Steelers. I know Cam Hayward came back. That's big for them. Yep. Minka Fitzpatrick not playing is huge. Mm-hmm. So, we'll just see what happens. Can't start slow. Maybe we score 2 times in the first half.
Hey, if he didn't miss that kick, which Durs has been great, I'm not going to give him slack. He's been a bright spot on this team.
Yeah.
We could have had double-digit points. We were that close.
It was 10-7 or 10-3.
No, 7-3. Remember, he missed. Going into
shit, it was. We didn't get 10 until third quarter.
There was 4 seconds left, but he missed the kick.
Yeah, we almost did it.
I know, right? Because he's been so good this year. We thought it was automatic. We were like, oh, we're going into the half 10-7 or 10-3.
Yeah.
But he missed, and I was like, I don't care. He's been so good all year.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Hopefully things continue. I don't know. It just kind of, you never know what we're going to get. Like I said, I thought the offensive line played okay. They have more than just Aaron Donald on the Steelers. So TJ Watt's a dog. So
for sure.
I'll see what happens. But that's all I got. You got anything else before we get out of here?
No, I think the key to the victory next week is, kind of like what we alluded to earlier in the episode is, focus on that short game or not short game, quick game, right? Short implies that you're doing a lot of like horizontal passing or passing behind the line of scrimmage or something like that. Just passing over the middle of the field, really quick passing.
Those 2 Mississippi throws where you get rid of the ball less than 2 Mississippi. 3-step drop, get rid of the football.
Don't have the into the back. Get it out,
Yep. For sure.
And then, and just the defense has been playing well, man. If we can get a couple of turnovers, we could be in this game.
Yep, for sure. So, before I get out here, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/toilets-titles. We would appreciate that. If you are a supporter, thank you so much for that. Check out the website, toiletstitles.com. You can find the show on Twitter at toiletstitles. You can find myself at Nate_Dirt19. You can find Bobby at Bobby A Winner. And thanks again for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week, hopefully after a Niners Packer victory. Have a good weekend.